Hello and welcome to History 102-N51, Western Civilizations since 1715, or 1715 to present, late start. For the next 7 weeks, we will be going through this second half of the Western Civ sequence. And when you click on the course page in Canvas, you'll be taken to this home page with the summary and description of the course. Your perusal code to sign up for perusal. Let me minimize this here. Actually, let's bring this over here since we have a little nice wide margin on this side. You'll have your perusal code. We'll talk about that. Perusals, we'll talk about that over here in a moment. This is your code, so you have the code. It is available, so you need to get signed up if you have not done so already. Ignore I have to modify the course meetings. This is not blended live. This is completely asynchronous, so you work according to the schedule, but on your own time. Office hours, and we have nothing to ignore the Zoom thing. You click on this directly, and it will take you to my Zoom page. And then we have different pages, or different links to course content, the syllabus, the assignments, the files. The modules, there are some useful material in the modules, although in terms of navigating the course, I don't use modules. Go by the schedule of assignments as it shows up in your calendar, and by the syllabus. But you do have an abbreviated schedule here. So week 1, we are doing Atlantic revolutions. That means the Enlightenment, the French Revolution, the American Revolution, actually reverse those two, American Revolution, French Revolution, Haitian Revolution, a little bit of the South American revolutions, although I'm kind of omitting those in this abbreviated version of the course, and the Industrial Revolution. And then by next Monday, you will have your first thematic essay due. So this is a late start course. This doesn't mean that there's half the work. It means it's the same amount of work as a 15-week course, but compressed into half that time. So if that's not your cup of tea, you should maybe think about doing the spring course. Some of the weekly assignments have been pared down a bit because I see, combining 2 weeks into one and giving you 20-odd sources is not practicable. But for the most part, in terms of the writing, that stays about the same. After that first week, you basically have 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and 2 weeks to do your other 3 thematic essays. And as you can see, revolutions and nationalism, imperialism and mass society, and then basically we're off to the world wars. First World War this is short because Thanksgiving week, that's week 4, November 22nd, 23rd, so that's Monday, Tuesday. I think one of the assignments, you can go into Wednesday if you wish, but that's not that's not a requirement because there's no classes on Wednesday. And then when we come back from a break, from Thanksgiving break, by Monday, December 6th, which is the last week of class, you'll have thematic essay 3 due, which is a option for the one of the world wars or interwar period. And then basically we have 1 week on the later Cold War to the 1990s. So we basically do the Cold War to 1990s. And then we have Monday, December 13th, but I'm letting the deadlines go over into the 14th if you need to. And that's to basically do from 1989 to 2008. And then Friday, December 17th, thematic essay 4 due. Now, this is a hard deadline. These are all kind of hard deadlines. This is a compressed course. If you start falling behind, if you miss a chapter quiz, well, then just move on to the next one. We'll get to that in a moment because there's so much happening here so quickly that if you stop doing assignments because, I missed one and I want to make sure I can go back and do it, no, you can't. So just move on to the next one. Stay on top of things if there's an opportunity to go back and if it looks feasible and if I actually have the time to go back and reset things, which I don't always have time to do, that might be possible. This December 17th deadline, however, is a hard deadline. You will submit I will not accept any submitted work after this because I have to grade it. And I have to have all grades in by noon on Monday, December 20th, and I really want to be finished before then, so I'm not going to be tracking people down for missing or late work. So It's perhaps a bit more intense than you were anticipating, but welcome to late start or summer or winter term courses. Now, as far as the syllabus goes, I apologize for the formatting here. Canvas does a horrible job pasting Word document format into HTML. It is what it is. You can get the PDF of the syllabus here. This is if I have emailed you via Outlook, your RBC email address before. This is a slightly updated syllabus. So if you only go by the old one, particularly in the last 10 days of the course, I altered a few things. So if you're going by that one and you think you don't have assignments due, look again because some of those things have changed. Office hours, just click on this. It will take you directly into Zoom. You could potentially come by my office, although in practice I'm keeping many of these or most of these as online. So office hour visits are possible, but in practice sometimes I'm commuting. I'm actually doing it from home because I have to work from home that morning, and then I'll come in ahead of my classes. So going to Zoom is probably the best way of doing it. Do not try, if you try my office, it's 50-50 as to whether I'll be actually there, because I may be running around, like a crazy chicken, doing many other things. And yes, and I have chickens. I have a bunch of chickens at home, so like I know that of which I speak. So course description, mode of instruction, online asynchronous. There are no face-to-face meetings. If I had the opportunity to post some lectures or post some slide decks, I will do that. But perusal is going to be your core way of interacting with other people, but also doing the coursework itself. History program objectives. This is why this course exists and where it fits into the larger scheme of academic study. Learning outcomes, this is at the conclusion of this course, students will be able to, etc., etc. You'll notice in assignments that chapter quizzes are tagged to learning outcomes. Perusal assignments, well, I should have tagged them as well. We'll get back to those as well. Thematic essays, research paper, they all tag to the different learning outcomes. And so if you see this on one of your essays, LO1, LO3, that's not your prompt. That is telling you why this assignment exists and where it fits in the scheme of the course. All right, required textbooks. Western Civ 2 Brief 5th edition. This is your textbook. You can get the ebook. You can get the ebook starting at $40. This comes with the full bells and whistles. If you buy the ebook through the bookstore, it does not come with all the bells and whistles. Not that you necessarily need them. Everything you need is contained within the course. So bear that in mind. But it's Volume 2, Brief 5th, so you should have the blue, not the red. If you have the red, the green is the combined volume. That would be fine. If you buy an old copy, if you have purchased an old copy of the 4th edition, you basically already need the book today. You need the book from today forward, so you should already have purchased it. If you have a 4th edition, that will essentially be fine. The quizzes, to go over here to assignments for a moment, the chapter quizzes, these come from the 4th edition, and I'm just going to keep using those because the 5th edition requires you to sign up for and use Norton's learning platform, which I really don't like, and I tried it with my world history course this semester, and no one liked it really. So that's a mess. So the page numbers from here won't line up to what's in the 5th edition, but essentially it's fine. You'll do fine. Perusal, here's your course code again, so don't email me asking for the course code because you have it in 2 different places. Class meetings, we don't really have those. Okay, so here is the breakdown of what this course requires. So the chapter quizzes, knock out learning outcome 1, identify key names, dates, and places. That's 10% of your grade. Now, there are 17, there's 19... there's 13 chapters. There's 13 chapters in the textbook. So you have 13 quizzes worth 10% of your grade. If you miss one, it's not going to be the end of the world. You miss 5 or 6, and yeah, you're probably missing about at least 5 to 7% of your grade, most likely. Perusal source readings, evaluate sources, that's learning outcome 4. That is 30% of your grade. The analysis essays are LO2, major themes, that's 30% of your grade. And the history research project is LO3 and LO5, that's 30% of your grade. Now, you may have seen, if we go back to the home page, that there are 4 thematic essays, but there's only 3 listed here. Why is that? Because here's how this goes. The first one, let's go over here back to the home page. Thematic essay 1, you just do what's there. Thematic essay 2, you just do what's there. Now, you get to designate one, either essay 3 or essay 4 as your research paper, and that will require you to go to the, use the library resources, get at least one additional article on your topic, and it actually needs to be a relevant article, and to use additional primary sources from the Perusal library, preferably. If you go to Google and throw in some random crap, that's not going to go well for you. You designate one of those as your research paper, so when you submit it, you do not submit it to the thematic essay 3 or 4, you submit it under the research paper. And I will already know what you're doing because you'll have to tell me which one you're designating. Take a look at the prompts, see what you like or don't like about them, and decide. So there are 3 analysis essays. One of your 4th one you will designate as your research paper. And that's basically it. All right, late work. This right here is very important. Everyone gets confused about this, and I have a lot of people emailing me. There's no need to email me. The due date is, there are 2 types of designation in Canvas. There is a due date and there is a closing date. The due date is when the assignment is due. The closing date is when it closes. Sometimes those are the same. For Perusal assignments, those are basically the same. For chapter quizzes, the closing date is up to 1 day, 24 hours after the due date. Now, there's no late penalties here. But once the assignment closes, it's done. It's over. If you miss it, too bad. But if you miss the due date, as long as the closing date is set after that, you have some leeway, some wiggle room to actually catch that up. The Perusal, I decided not to make Perusal assignments due the evening before the start of class period the day they're due because we're not meeting in person. So if we go down here and look at Perusal assignment, it's due, your first one is due this Wednesday by right before midnight. It closes at midnight, and in fact, Perusal itself, if we go to the assignments here, actually that's, I need to adjust that because that's, says 10:59. This is a little clunky. So that's when it closes. All right, we'll come back to Perusal again in a moment. Okay, analysis essays, research paper. Once the assignment closes, you better have that in. And if we go to assignments, thematic essay 1 revolution, I don't actually have that set. I should have that set. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right, important dates. Last day to withdraw that. You have the end of the week to decide this is not for you. November 1, actually I guess it's today, deadline to apply for December graduation. Thanksgiving break, of course, last day of classes. That's technically not true for us. I only found this out late last week. Our last day of class at this particular course is December 13th. And then there's no exam. You finish your last paper. And then I need to have everything into the registrar by noon. Okay, attendance policy. If you miss, basically, if you haven't checked in or done anything by the end of the week, I'll drop you from the course. 14 consecutive calendar days. This is a compressed course, maybe into next week, because I'm going to be going nuts this week. But if you just are a no-show, we are required to drop you from the course. COVID-19 attendance policy addendum. That's pretty standard. You should have seen this on all of your courses by now. Online behavior. This is sort of guidelines for how you interact with your peers in Perusal. Academic integrity. You should all be pretty familiar with this at this point. Don't copy paste crap from the internet and try to pretend that it's yours. The odds of being found out are very high, and that will mess you up your academic career like few things will. certainly on the academic side. So on the res life side, there's a whole bunch, that's a whole other story. But in terms of academics, plagiarism is probably the worst thing you could do, and it will be put on your official record too if it's like a big case. We do have some latitudes to how we treat this. Homework assignment. The good thing about most of the assignments, all the assignments I'm giving you, is that they can't you can't really fake these things. I mean, you either do the perusal assignment or you don't. And the essay assignments, as you'll see in a moment, there's no way of faking them. You can't even get Cliff or Spark Notes for these things, so you actually have to do the work. Student support services, this should be pretty familiar to you across all your courses by now. Okay, and then schedule of classes. Familiarize yourselves with this. Today is the Enlightenment. Wednesday is the French Revolution. You should have actually there should be a perusal assignment thing in here. I had been going back and forth as to whether I was just going to have one per week or two, but really two shorter ones is better than one massive long one. So that's what I decided to do. Also, try to have this second one Friday, the Friday assignment done by Friday, but it really goes through Saturday to give you extra time on that. All right, so this is all pretty straightforward. Familiarize yourself with that, and then, of course, finally the mission. Okay. Assignments. When you click on your perusal assignments, let's go to the first one for this week. You will find that all it says is go here and complete the week 1A assignment. Now, all of these are posted. I've had issues in my other classes where I haven't been able to sync the post and sync the Canvas and the perusal assignments. People say, well, I didn't see it on Canvas. No excuse. You know it's on perusal. You need to do it. And that's all it's going to say right there. Let's look at Thematic Essay 1. So you need to be thinking about this as well. I need to adjust the due dates, of course. Actually, I did not even, I have to do a little editing on this. Essentially, you will have the objective. This tells you this is a learning outcome. You'll have the historical problem. This is my summary of the historical context of the paper I'm asking you to look at, or why I'm giving you different options. The prompt is very simple, and this is the case across all 4 essays. Choose one of the readings below. You read the chapter or the article. You write a short paper of 1,000 words. Essay number 2 is going to be 1,200, and then the last 2 are going to be 1,500 words. So they get progressively bigger. Your research paper will be 1,750 words. So you have a somewhat bigger assignment as we go along. This essay you will write using MLA-style citations. The other 3 you will use Chicago-style citations for. Ignore this deadline. That needs to be adjusted. You need to use a couple of primary sources from perusal and the textbook. So show that you're actually reading the textbook. You're drawing on that. You're also using sources from the perusal library. Now, the readings. What these are scholarly articles, chapters from books published in journals that deal with specific aspects of the topics under consideration for that week, or for the unit, rather. So, Industrial Revolution, Child Labor in Dutch Urban History. Some of these are not. Some of these I need to actually adjust. I don't think I'm going to get a chance to do it this term. Worldwide Economic Impact of the French Revolution, Napoleonic Wars. That's a good article, actually. Avengers of the New World. This is Dubois' famous study of the Haitian Revolution. Children in the Industrial Revolution, Changes in Policy. The Legacy of the French Revolution. So, things to think about. Later versions of the course, I'll have a lot more options for you to choose from, but this is what I could do this semester. Chicago style, forget it, it's ML. If it says MLA up here, that's how you do it. If it says Chicago, that's how you do it. So this is your thematic essay. The key thing here is these can be anywhere from 10 to 30 pages long. You need to actually read them. And when I say assessing its argument, in later versions of these assignments, I suss this out a little bit. You need to assess its, give a sense of what is the story being told, what are the sort of various claims or or message of the article, and you need to discuss how the author supports this. And you have to do this accurately, precise language. Not he said some things about how the Haitian revolutionaries wanted freedom. That's not sufficient. You need to get into the details and show me that you've actually read it, you understand it, you've mentally digested the argument and thought about what the author is trying to do. So, as I said, there's no way to fake this kind of assignment. You either do it or you don't. That hasn't prevented people from just going to the internet and turning in, random summaries of tertiary level articles. But that's the assignment. As far as files go, where are you going to find these? You're going to find these in files. So that's over here. You'll find folders, Essay 1, 2, 3, and 4. That will be your selection. Now, currently, I don't think I have anything in these 3. I need to upload those things, and then the rest of these essays will go live later. This is where you're going to find these. So, that's the course. That's as you see it on Canvas. Now, Perusall, when you go to Perusall, you need to sign up, and when you do, and I say this in the home page. Click log in, and you'll see an option to register. So you go up here to the corner, you click log in. Of course, that's just going to log me in because I'm already logged in. But you'll see an option for registering, and that's how you register. Should just be name and email. They shouldn't be requiring personal information. They say they're known to be FERPA compliant. So in any case, directory information I think is all they require. You use this code, you join the course, and then you'll be taken to here's your assignments. Now make sure you pay attention to reading the descriptions here. Don't just dive into the assignment, open and start commenting. You need to see description of what I have in here, and specifically what I want you to do. Occasionally I want you to choose from between a couple different assignments. A couple things about Perusall. Number one, you have a full library. Now, this library is keyed to the 15-week course. I'm not going to reorganize it for this course. That's a complete waste of time. There are a lot of articles in here, and it gets even more so by the time we get up to the late 1800s. Far more than you're going to have for your actual assignments to read. So when you do your papers, you can go to this library and you'll have a range of documentaries and primary sources that you can draw on to look at. Now, in terms of your assignments, note this. This is not a one-shot deal. You can comment and go and leave it and then come back and comment some more and then come back in the evening and do it again. Until the assignment closes, you can comment, read and comment as much as you please. So you'll notice in this first part there's 9 different documents. Most of these are pretty short. These 2 are basically a page apiece. This has a lot of images in it. These are a few pages. This is 1 page. The Vendée, I think, is 1 page. And Rousseau-Wollstonecraft is maybe 2 or 3. So it's actually not a lot of pages. Occasionally, there will be a lot of pages. I've given you down here in Revolution and Reaction. No, actually, Nationalism. I did give you... Actually, wait a minute, not that. It was Revolution and Reaction. Example, the Principles of Communism, Communist Manifesto. Well, that's like 40 pages and 60 pages. You're not reading all of that. I'm giving you the first 5 to 10 pages of it to read and think about. In terms of the number of comments I want you to make, you should be aiming for somewhere between 2 to 5 comments per article, inclusive of responses to your peers. So if you respond, and it needs to just be well, that's a great point. It needs to be a somewhat substantive response to one of your classmates on a 1-page document. That counts. That's good. asking questions, getting upvotes, things that don't make sense, things that strike you as you're reading about the topic, questions, things that you don't know, things that aren't clear, things that maybe you have a train of thought of your own you're following, and there's something in this document that sort of encourages you to move along in that direction. All of that is good. Summarizing the article, I'm sort of putting in cliff notes on the side. Yeah, not quite so good. I mean, you're not going to fail the assignment, but that's not really what we're going for here. So don't think you need to sit down and do it all at once, because you don't. You can work on it at your own pace up until the assignment closes. As you see, by the time we get down here to December 8th, due by Wednesday, this is a somewhat longer one. Notice on the options here, you have to watch and comment on. You can comment on videos in this. The first hour of Commanding Heights: Battle of Ideas, Episode 1, and then also this documentary, Germany After the War. So which is very revealing. So this is how it's going to look. So if we start playing this, it should open in YouTube. Let's fast forward here. Right at this point, if you add a comment, it will stop and it will put a mark there at that point. So that's how you do this. And the documentary on Germany, and then we go to the document. And so in this case, when you highlight, that will be your comment, and that's how. And once you highlight it, if it actually, there we go. You see, you can make things boldface, italics. You basically have almost a full editing suite. You can put in emojis, you can put in images, you can put in links. So that reminds me of something. I came across this the other day. You drop a link in there. That's excellent. That's a high level of engagement with the material. That's making connections outside the course. Insert video. Make this comment anonymous to other students. I don't think you guys have that option. Insert poll. I'm not sure why I'd be using that. But anyway, you have full range of options. That's more or less how this works. This particular essay, Politics in English Language, it's worth reading. It's worth reading. Orwell's always worth reading. His writing is very interesting. Artist as a Witness to Freedom. What we're trying to get at here is perceptions of language and politics after the Second World War. So you start off here with the Enlightenment, a series of documents, and yeah. So have at it. Read, comment, reply to your peers. And that is basically the course. So good luck. I will be checking in. I'll be interacting with you on perusal. I'll be clicking on your questions, upvoting you, replying, and so on and so forth. And I have a few adjustments to make still, and I have to upload these essays and modify these essays. But other than that, you should be all set. Dive right in. All right. Good luck.